Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's What's Up Wednesday, where we are going live with you on Facebook and LinkedIn every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time to talk about our upcoming 21st Annual International Human Trafficking and Social Justice Conference coming up on September 18th through the 20th. We are actually 3 weeks away today from the conference. It's coming up quickly. I've enjoyed being on here every week with you. So my name is Anna Schramm. I am the conference planner that works at the University of Toledo's Human Trafficking and Social Justice Institute. And today we have a special guest with us. Rita O'Brien is a survivor, educator, and social worker who has a passion to educate others in her community about human trafficking. So hi, Rita. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for letting me be here. I love this conference. I learned so much. Being online, it definitely isn't as fun, but it's so great because we can learn from each other. And because we're online, we can just learn so much more by being different time zones, doesn't matter.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like you and me. I mean, we're in the same time zone, but you're up in Michigan. I'm in Ohio, but we can be on this call together. And that's the joy of the virtual atmosphere now and people who are joining watching us from all over the world. So today we are going to be focusing on our lived experience presentations at the conference. Over the past couple months on these Wednesdays, we've been talking about how diverse of a conference we are, and we have a variety of topics that people can choose from. Well, one of those topics that you can attend at the conference is hearing from survivors and lived experience experts. So before we get too much into that, Rita, can you just start off by telling us a little bit more about yourself and the work that you do?
Yes, so I'm really glad I can be here. I'm glad that I found the University of Toledo and all the amazing work that the Human Trafficking and Social Justice Conference has done to help me and help so many other survivors and advocate people that are advocating. So for me, I came just finding out back in 2015, 2016, and I'm like, wait, I'm not the only one that's been through this horrific thing. And it was so fun to meet other people and see their journey and how they got healing, and meeting Celia and meeting you and seeing some of my other people now that have helped me and mentored me. And it's nice that I can be able to give back. And so I'm a board member for Kalamazoo Area Anti-Human Trafficking Coalition out of Kalamazoo, and then Pearls of Great Price on the east side of Michigan. It's great. I really enjoy being able to help on both of them. And I get to train our upcoming police recruits at Kalamazoo Valley Community College. So I love it.
That's so cool. And you are also have your degree in social work as well, right?
Yes. Yes. So I have my master's degree. I failed my licensing test, so I'm taking it again in October. So I'm really glad I studied the wrong materials. So that wasn't a good idea. So, but I
Tests are
really,
always hard, and
but yeah,
we get second chances. So
yes.
awesome. Well, thank you for being on, telling us a little bit about yourself. And as a survivor and lived experience expert, can you talk a little bit more about the importance of including survivor voices in all aspects of the work that we do in the human trafficking and social justice fields?
Yes. So I think it's important for anybody who comes to the conference. Some people don't know how much survivors have been through. Sometimes survivors don't know the help that's out there with advocacy or organizations that can help them. So I think it's really neat on this conference that we can meet each other, see each other, and ask those questions. And honestly, I guess I'm a little bit on the spectrum. For me, it's easier to be seeing you here because I can just focus on what you're saying, and when I listen to that, it helps me be like, huh, wow, I can learn from that and I can apply it to what I'm doing to help others, to be able to continue to help myself, but also to help others in my community and the students that I speak to.
Yeah, and I think, I've seen a resurgence in the last couple of years of the importance of having lived experience experts on boards. And you said that you're a part of a couple organizations, and you're out there in the community educating. And it's easy to get caught up doing this work with professionals and like, okay, this is what we have to do, and these are the programs we're going to do. But then if we're not asking survivors for their input or about their experiences or what they think about it, then what's the point of doing what we're doing? Because we're doing it for those victims, for survivors, for thrivers. So anything else that you want to add to that about just like the importance of having survivors at the table?
Well, and I think having survivors at the table is also important as well, because not many survivors have the exact same story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, between labor trafficking and sex trafficking, and I really haven't met an organ trafficking person. I guess there is one in Michigan. We're going to be talking to her. But I mean, there's so much stuff that goes on that all of our stories are different. But knowing that this is a safe place, especially in the survivor breakouts, I really felt like those have been moderated well. And when advocacy listens, I think it's important that advocacy or other people that don't have lived experience can ask us the questions that they can't ask survivors when they're working with them at their agencies, because it may not be appropriate. But those of us that are on there want them to ask questions so we can help them do better work where they're at.
Yeah, I do love how open you are to answering questions and providing your feedback, because that just creates a really safe space and a learning environment where we can ask that and then learn. And I like that you highlighted the variety of experiences of survivors and lived experience experts, because no two person has the same story. So even if you talk to one person and you're like, okay, I understand their story, I'm including their voice, that not really is good enough. You need to hear from everybody else. You need to also understand that what services or experience one person had is not going to be what the next person experienced as well. So I'm glad that our conference has been able to provide those spaces for survivors to come together and have it be a place where they can hear from each other and support each other, get connections even after the conference. And I think that's also one of the reasons. There's multiple reasons, but one of the reasons why we provide free registration for survivors is, again, because we're doing this work for them. So we want them to have access to this education, but we also want to hear their voices, and we want to make it easy and accessible for them to be able to come to the conference. So, and you have been a part of the conference for several years now, as a presenter, even as an attendee, even back when we were in person, like you mentioned. So tell us a little bit about, you've mentioned it here and there, but anything more you want to add about your experience with the conference and why you keep coming back year after year?
Well, you know, I think I come back year after year because if I'm going to be teaching law enforcement recruits at Academy, Kalamazoo Valley Community College, I want to be able to make sure I'm up on what I'm teaching. I also want to be up on my CEUs, and since I'm a survivor, I can get a couple of CEUs that really help me for my education and my training. So, but I also like it too because I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. Like somebody will share something that I hadn't thought about before, and to me, that's kind of gold. Like, there's so many smart people on this site that like sometimes I don't have time to look at it all, and I'm like downloading. Oh, I want to read that one later. Click download it, and read that information later, and then maybe contact them or email them because there's so much good information at this conference. Like I wouldn't miss it.
Yes. Well, we're glad that you come back and provide your expertise too and are able to learn from others. And I think that's what's really cool about our conference too, is that we do try to keep new information, new programming, new laws, new research. So even if you have been coming to our conference for, 10 years or something, you still learn new information. You still make those new connections. So you are actually presenting at this year's conference again. Your session is titled The Predator Next Door. And I know you're going to be talking about a lot of things in your session, but can you give our listeners just a brief overview of what you're going to be presenting on? So maybe if they want to learn more and attend your session.
Yeah, I really want to open people's eyes up to the familial trafficking and just organizational trafficking, because my dad was in a big men's organization and he was also part of a cult church that trafficked children. And I'm thinking, man, there's got to be a lot of broken people in my community, because I'm not the only person it happened to. It happened to dozens of children. So I'm thinking, man, if I got healing, so can other people that have been through this. And so I'm talking pretty candidly now that my mom is gone. I hate to say it. I miss my mom dearly, but my dad is gone. And I'm like, it's happened to other people in my family, and another family member just came forward and said it happened to her too. And I'm like, okay, so my dad didn't just do it to me, he did it to them too. And I guess I want people to be aware that, okay, this awful, crazy thing happened in your life. Now give yourself permission to heal. Give
Mhm.
yourself permission to walk away and be like, you know what? I'm not going to let that happen to anyone else. I'm not going to let it happen to my kids, and people in my neighborhood. So that's why I'm so open about it, because the predator next door could be next to you.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you for sharing that here and for coming to our conference and sharing your story and what happened to you. Because, like you said, you didn't even realize that it was happening to other family members or other people in your community. So it's so important to share that and talk about it. And also, I think break down some of those misconceptions about what people think human trafficking is or looks like, that it was happening in your home or it was happening in a church organization, and people have this idea of what human trafficking looks like from images or pictures, videos on the media. So, hearing different stories, different experiences, I think kind of opens people's minds to about like, okay, this could be happening, and what do we need to look for, and how do we need to approach victims or interact with victims so we can get them help and the services that they need. So thank you for sharing that and coming back to the conference. So if any of the listeners are interested in hearing what Rita has to share and want to learn more about that, please make sure that you register for our conference. You can do that by going to our website, which is traffickingconference.com/register. So you can find Rita's session there and all of our other sessions that we have. I'm going to highlight a couple of our other lived experience sessions at the conference that you could attend. Remember, you have over 100 breakout sessions that you can attend at the conference. Rita was mentioning trying to get all of the information, the presentation slides, the handouts. So you have access to all of that from all of the sessions. If you are registered for the conference, you have access to recordings for up to 3 weeks. So it does seem overwhelming, but you can kind of pace yourself and watch ones afterwards, download the information so you can learn more, and not just, it's not just a 3-day conference. We try to make it last for a month. But okay, so some of the ones that I do want to highlight are Dr. M. Elizabeth Bowman, Liz Kimball, and Tara Wallace will be presenting on peer-led support groups using virtual spaces to increase access for survivors. Alicia Tappan will be talking about building survivor leaders into warriors. Next, Christy Scott Bartman and Jasmine Myers will be presenting on systemic barriers, cracks, and safety nets for familial trafficking survivors. Annika Lucas will talk about healing and beyond, overcoming powerlessness in the face of ritual abuse. And then Brenna Wallace will be presenting on We Are the Forgotten, a story of human trafficking. So there will be many other lived experience presentations at the conference outside of the ones that I mentioned. So if you want to view our full schedule, we do have that already up on our website. So you can view that at our website, traffickingconference.com/schedule, to read more about those lived experience presentations and then all of the other topics that we do have at the conference. So Rita, is there anything else that you would like to add before we wrap up today?
Well, I just like to add that, because it makes it so convenient to be able to be at home, give yourself the time and space to take those 3 days off at work. Or if you got to get away from kids or other annoying people in your life, go to a hotel and lock yourself there and do nice things for yourself, and take this time to learn, listen, heal, and see how you can learn more to help others and yourself.
Well, thank you, Rita. That's a great way to end this. And thank you for taking the time to be on our What's Up Wednesday with us. So next week is actually going to be our last week of going live on Facebook and LinkedIn for our What's Up Wednesdays. That'll be at 12 Eastern time next Wednesday. So we are going to have our conference founder, Dr. Celia Williamson, on with us to answer your questions that you might have about the conference. So if there's anything that you want to know, anything more about the topics we covered, anything logistically about the conference, you can send those questions to info@traffickingconference.com. Celia and I will be on here to answer your questions live. You can also tune in and send us your questions live as well. So you can learn more about anything that we talked about today. No, it's a lot of information, so it's all on our website, traffickingconference.com. So go there, make sure you're registered, check out our schedule. So thank you so much for joining us today. We will be here next next week. I hope to see you then. And everybody have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.